News conference with the Romanian president today. The president denied ever asking Director Comey for a loyalty oath, said he'd be willing to swear that under oath.
Would you be willing to speak under oath to give your version of
100%.
So if Robert Mueller wanted to speak with you about that,
I would be glad to tell him exactly what I just told you.
Meanwhile, the former FBI director's testimony was hardly the impeachment trigger Democrats are hoping for, but they still tried to spin it to their advantage, of course, all day.
I found it quite stunning. It's not every day you have a former director of the FBI saying that he couldn't trust the president.
I think Comey came across as an honest man under oath against a president who really doesn't focus much attention on telling the truth.
The president demanded loyalty. He wanted the case against his friend Michael Flynn to go away, and that he obsessively hounded the FBI director.
I think we saw confirmation in Director Comey's resolute testimony detailing the frightening reality of President Trump's pattern of contempt for justice.
Damn. Don Calloway is a Democratic strategist and a former Missouri state representative. He joins us tonight. Don, thanks for coming on.
Anytime. Thank you for having me.
So this is from the book Shattered, written by a couple of Politico reporters, not right-wingers, and it describes the Hillary campaign and its aftermath. And it says here, that strategy had already been set within 24 hours of Hillary's concession speech. Mook and Podesta, who ran the campaign, assembled her communications team at the Brooklyn headquarters to engineer the case that the election was not entirely on the up and up. Already, the Russian hacking was the centerpiece of the argument. So this was a strategy devised in the ashes of the Clinton campaign to delegitimize Trump. And it's been far more, I think, effective than anyone would ever have predicted.
Politics aside, it should matter. It should matter to everybody. What we know, and as confirmed by 22 different independent intelligence agencies in this country, as confirmed by Director Comey yesterday under oath, is that the Russians interfered in our election process, and that interference inured to the benefit of now President Donald Trump. What we don't know is whether or not there was collusion. I'm willing to say that based upon the evidence we have out there right now, there was no collusion. But the fact that Russia intruded into our election process for the most important election we have every 4 years should be troubling to everyone. Right. And nobody's saying it didn't happen.
Actually, I'm saying it didn't happen. I'm saying it didn't happen in a meaningful way. First, I'm saying there are not 22 intelligence agencies in this country. There are 17, and that includes the Coast Guard. Second, I'm saying that not one person who has ever made that allegation to me has explained how they affected the outcome at all. So and therefore, they didn't hack the election. They didn't alter the election. The whole thing is a hoax.
We know that it was hacked. And Director Comey yesterday said that there was no doubt whatsoever in front of the Senate that it was hacked. We don't know what the effect is. I'm willing to give you that. We don't know whether or not people voted for Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton because of the hacking. What we do know is that there was hacking, and that hacking involved exposing DNC secret emails, internal workings of the Democratic Party.
We don't know that.
We do know that, Tucker. It's not. That's not up for debate.
Actually, not only is it up for debate. Like, first of all, everything is up for debate because nothing is settled. But here's why it's up for debate. No, it's not. What you have is a lot of mindless people who don't know any details, nodding in unison, oh yes, just like on a host of other subjects in Washington. But the truth is, if you go and look at the details, the DNC servers were never examined by the U.S. government, by the FBI, because the Clinton people wouldn't allow that. And so actually, it is an open question. There's, by the way, no evidence at all that any Russian hacked John Podesta's email.
We don't know that. All we can say, Tucker, is that you say that hacking didn't happen, or we don't know whether or not hacking happened, but the director of the FBI, yesterday under oath said that hacking happened and that there was no doubt.
Nobody debates that it happened. Who did it is the question. And if you talk to any, they don't know that, and they don't say that they know that because they don't.
Yesterday asked Director Comey, and he said, I have no doubt that Russia interfered with our election process.
But what does that mean? Nobody wants to get into details because they don't know the answer.
So there's two different questions, Tucker. The questions are, did it happen? And I think that has been decided by you are correct, the 17, not 22, forgive me. But did that happen, and what the effect does, I'm willing to give you, Tucker, in an act of bipartisanship, I'm willing to give you that we don't know the effect, but we know it happened.
We don't know the details, actually, and it's not a meaningful claim unless we can explain exactly what the claim means. That is true in all cases.
It happened. We don't know the effect, but we know it happened.
You can repeat it as much as you want, but it's meaningless unless it is accompanied by details, and it's not. So let me just ask you this question. The Attorney General of the United States, Jeff Sessions, is loathed by the left. They disagree with him. I, by the way, think that's legitimate. If you don't agree, that's fine. But they are now trying to take him out of commission to a greater extent than he has been on the grounds that he's somehow collaborating with the Russians. And Comey, to his eternal discredit and shame, suggested that obliquely in a cowardly, disgusting way on the floor of the Senate yesterday without explaining what he meant. And I'm asking you a really simple question. This guy, the Attorney General, brushed elbows with the Russian ambassador, Does that make him a collaborator with the Russian government?
What we know is that at least 2 times last summer, during the course of his work as an advocate and a surrogate for the Trump campaign, is that then Senator, now Attorney General Sessions met with Russian individuals, one of them probably being the Russian ambassador. What we also know is that he did not properly disclose that when asked during his Senate confirmation hearings in either the pre-filings and then during his actual testimony. So his crime, and I'm not even going to call it a crime.
That's not true.
I'm not even going to call it a crime. What we know is that he met with them, and what we also know is that he did not disclose it. This is why he voluntarily recused himself.
We don't know.
And yesterday, during the closed session, the Washington Post reports that that Director Comey said that there was a third contact that was again undisclosed.
He said he didn't know if there was a third contact.
No, he said that the Washington Post is reporting that he said that there was a third contact.
Can we just let's drop the partisan crap here for a second?
He did recuse himself,
and I'm not. I think it was an unwise decision. I think they caved to pressure. Is the truth.
No, he recused himself because he knew.
If you give us, let's just be totally real.
Sure.
Let's stop the innuendo and the McCarthyism.
You and me. Let's do it.
If you speak to the Russian ambassador at an event organized by the Obama administration, not acting in your capacity as a surrogate for the campaign, but as a U.S. senator, there is nothing wrong with that. That does not qualify as a campaign activity. It's not lobbying on behalf of Russia. It's totally non-sinister, and now people are claiming that that is enough that he should resign.
No, so I heard you disclose that in your preamble. We don't know that those public events at the RNC were the limits of his contacts with Russia, and again, he should have disclosed it. So if nothing else, even if those contacts were not sinister, he should have disclosed it, and he failed to.
No,
that's the problem. I'm not saying it's a crime, but he should have disclosed it.
You're factually wrong.
No,
because
he didn't disclose them, Tucker.
He needed to disclose it if he met with the Russians in his capacity as a Trump campaign surrogate.
But that was not the question he was asked at his confirmation hearing. He was asked at any time during the course of last year,
did you meet with Vladimir Putin? It does not mean that he's working on behalf of the Russians. This is crazy.
But then say you did
and you're impugning the reputation.
You did that and explain why you did it.
Okay, you're impugning the reputation of decent men for politics, and it's wrong.
Say what? So then you know what? If you met with them for totally innocuous purposes, then say yes, I did, and this is why.
You don't convince. What would the non-innocuous purposes
I don't know,
be?
and that's the reason. And it should have been up for question in front of the Senate committee, the Judiciary Committee, which confirmed him.
Are you familiar with the McCarthy era at all?
I've read up on it. I wasn't alive, but I read up on it.
Do you think that this moment is degrading our standards of justice? At all?
I don't. You know what I think degrades our standards?
Where we call people names because they talk to someone at a party?
We call them a name.
We just said Nancy Pelosi, who's some kind of leader in your party, said he ought to resign because of this.
She's the leader of the House. She's not just some kind of leader. She's a former
speaker. He should resign over that? This is insane, actually.
He did not disclose contacts with Russians when asked under oath, Tucker. That's a problem.
This is really crazy.
Whether or not you did it for innocent purposes or not, he didn't disclose it. That's the problem.
Thank you, Don. We're sitting through my last and final Russia segment. We say this every night.
Always a pleasure, Tucker. Thank you, man.
Thank you.